Hey everyone, this is Amos Bilo, and I'm here with Alex Hunt. He is one of the participants of the Anchored Boot Camp, the 6-week boot camp that we did with a bunch of Christian guys, and it was awesome. And I wanted to get his take on it, where he's from, what he does, what he got from it, why he joined, what the outcomes he got out of it as well. So I'm going to give him some space to talk. I'll ask some questions, and we'll see what comes up. So, Alex, thanks for joining us. If you just want to let us know who you are, what you do, and where you're from.
Yeah, I'm Alex. I'm from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and I currently hold a call at Good Shepherd Lutheran School, and I'm the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade teacher, and I'm also the athletic director. Grew up in Wisconsin predominantly until I went to school at Martin Luther College and then moved permanently to Minnesota, where my first teaching job was in Lafayette, just outside of New Ulm. And then I moved again once I received my first call here to Sioux Falls, and I've been here now, this will be my 8th year.
Okay, awesome. It's a noble profession. It's awesome. It's awesome work that you do. Okay, so what I want to know then as we get into this, what was happening in your life before you jumped into the boot camp? So just in general at first.
In general, I wasn't very happy with myself, with my appearance, with the shape I was in, with the types of things I was eating and the amount I was eating. I felt like I wasn't there as much for my family as I wanted to be between work and home. So just kind of all around not as happy as I wanted to be.
Okay, I gotcha. How long was it like that for you? How long did it feel like that?
Well, the family's pretty new. That's only about 1.5 years or so old. And that probably really picked up this summer when I start rehauling my classroom and the things I'm going to teach. I've been spending a lot of time here, but before that, the health stuff, that's been years, number of years, probably 3 or 4 years.
Okay, so at least the family side, it's pretty new, 1 year, 1.5 years, and then the health side's been that way for a long time. Well, how did you see that affecting you, your life, and the people around you?
For me, I just always felt on the go. There were things that I knew I could do to help myself, whether it's working out or taking the time to prepare a meal. But I just felt like I had things that needed to get done instead. And so I would pass on those things and not really get much happier. As far as family life, make an effort to set aside time to be there, but when you have a 4-hour meeting or you're in the middle of, revamping your language curriculum, sometimes you're home at 6 instead of 4, like you said you would be.
Okay, and how did that impact your family and the people around you?
As far as my family, they said they were good. They said things were fine, but it just a lot of nonverbals, I guess, that I read that said, I want you to be here more. I wish you were here. The understanding maybe is a good word, but I didn't want them to have to be understanding. As far as outside of my family, a number of years ago, I lost quite a bit of weight, and I had people around me noticing and telling me, that's great, good job, go. And then that just kind of stopped because I gained it all back. I guess just some things I notice about the people around me.
Sure. Okay. So it didn't really necessarily seem like they were being impacted too much, but you could tell. And then it was also reflected back into how you felt about yourself and how you were showing up that started to
definitely
get you to this point. Okay, had you tried anything in the recent past or in the past in general to work on these things? Not only the health, but also time with family and prioritization?
Yeah, as far as the health goes, I had tried lots of things. 21-day fix, like 2 or 3 different Beachbody type programs I had tried, and minimal success. The first week or 2 is great, and then it just wasn't a habit or fell back into what I had been doing in the past. As far as the family side, probably not anything that I did concretely, just mentally made notes of what I wanted to try and change or do better.
Sure. Okay. So why do you think those didn't work?
Um, it just didn't stick with me. It just didn't become a habit. As far as the family side, making the mental notes when you already have so much going on in your head, to expect that to lead the way for change is not practical. As far as the other things that I had tried, a lot of it was dietary and food related. And that was very difficult for me because it was cutting out this or not eating this, and I just couldn't do that. And so, when I would fail or cave or give in, it would just be, well, forget the whole thing then.
Sure. Okay. So a lot of the programs are built around restricting yourself, just
Yeah.
focusing on the food or exercise, but not necessarily the family. And even if it was on the family, there was too much going on and it wasn't about the habit and behavior change.
Yeah.
So, okay. Gotcha. So what do you think was the main tipping point that made you want to try something else like this 6-week boot camp?
Um, I've never really done a program where there was accountability. A lot of the things that I've done or tried have just been me and myself. Uh, and I think I looked forward to the accountability factor, because when you're held accountable, I think you're a lot more likely to follow through. And honestly, just knowing you too ahead of time and knowing who you are and what you're about and the energy you have is definitely motivating to want to do it too.
Okay, sure. Appreciate that. So knowing me, knowing the people you were going to be around, and knowing that that was going to help with accountability of following through, making it more long term.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, and then what was just one or two things that you really wanted to get done and have become a habit or behavior through this?
Yeah, I really wanted to be a cognizant, healthy eater, not necessarily someone who only eats organic or doesn't eat dairy, but somebody that understands what and how much is going into my body and what that does. Um, and I wanted to really be or have a feeling of satisfaction with the things I do accomplish at work, rather than only getting 4 or 5 things done and focusing on, but I still got a million more to go, which I think fed a lot into, well, then I'm just going to stay one more hour and then I'll go home. So those are the two main things I was really hoping to get.
Okay. So being a cognizant eater, aware of what you're eating, why, how it's making you feel, not restrictive, and then getting things done and being satisfied, feeling accomplished with what you've done, not overworking yourself. Okay. So because of that, you decided to jump in on this program. What was it like? What was the experience like for you?
Yeah, it was phenomenal, to be honest. There were so many eye-opening moments, things that seem like they should be right in front of your face and obvious, um, but until somebody talks to you about it or asks you why or pushes you for a reason, you don't think about it. And then when you think about it, you sometimes don't understand, well, why was I doing that? Or why wasn't I thinking this way? Or why couldn't I commit to this? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and that really helped me focus on some of the areas that I wanted to focus on. So I loved the program, um, and I would definitely do it again.
Awesome. Okay. So you really were opened up to a different way of thinking about all this stuff, being open to more. How did you like or what was it like doing this with a group of guys, a group of Christian guys?
Yeah, that was huge, in 2 ways. One, like I'd said before, just the accountability. Having somebody there to keep driving you, to keep pushing you, to be checking in on you. For me, that's huge. Uh, when I have somebody with me working out, when I have someone checking in on me, it motivates me and drives me to keep going. And then secondly, to know that these are men that share my same core values, that know their Savior, is just so reassuring and helpful in knowing that I can open up if I need to, because these men are in the same boat I am, a sinner who needs a Savior. And that just makes it much more comforting.
Awesome. Okay, so that was a useful aspect to have a group of Christian guys. I agree. Okay, now you've gone through the program. You knew what you wanted to accomplish. You go out through the program. You've seen some changes. Now, how do you feel right now? What have you accomplished? How do you feel now about things?
Yeah, I really feel a lot better. I said before that, if someone were to ask me to describe myself 6 weeks ago, and it was a fact because we wrote it down, negatives were just the first thing that came to my mind. And I even had to have 2 columns, one for all the negatives and one for the positives that I was able to come up with. And then just a couple of days ago at the end of the program here, we were asked to do the same thing, write down what are your traits, and not a single negative thing came to my mind. They were all positive, and to have that big of a focus shift in just 6 weeks for me was huge. That was awesome. Another big thing that I took away, and it worked with my goal, was just realizing the amount that I'm eating and the time that it takes me to eat it was huge. I shared with you that example of making a 4-egg omelet, which for a guy like me, that's a 3-minute meal. But when I slowed myself down to 14 minutes, I couldn't finish it. And it's because I was full. And so I gained a lot of wisdom and understanding with the food and the health, as far as feeling accomplished and satisfied with what I'm doing. I took all that, the mental stuff, and I put it down. I put it down on paper, and I organized it into most important, and can wait. And not only did I just feel more clutter-free and able to think, but seeing those check-offs, those scratch-offs on the list, then when I only get 4 or 5 things done in a day, I felt satisfied. I knew they were big things, or I knew they were things I had to get done, and the list was getting smaller. So I took quite a few valuable things away.
Awesome. Okay, so now having experienced and accomplished, you feel positive. Your mindset has shifted. You feel positive. You can focus on those things, and that's naturally what comes up. You feel accomplished and satisfied with what you're doing and what you have done. And then also you've created that healthier relationship with food. You've slowed down and you're enjoying it instead of throwing it down quickly. But having done all those things, how is that now impacting your family and your work and your relationships and the different areas of your life?
Yeah, really helped me realize that a reprioritization was in order. For being single so much of my life, I think it just necessarily escaped me, but right there in front of me, that I was putting myself first for a lot of things. I wanted to get this done at work, so I stayed, or I wanted to eat this and I wanted to eat it now, so I did it. And so, especially through that private conversation we had, that one-on-one, really opened up my eyes to a reprioritization was in order. And that's been done now, where God is first, and my family is second, and then things fall into place from there. And that mind shift, or that prioritization shift, has been huge for me, a big instrument in helping me feel more free and to help move forward that way too.
Okay, good. So the reprioritization is impacting you in your life, but also the people around you, because now they're up there on the priorities, as we talked about, and you're free to do those things. You can choose to now put your energy and attention there. So having that reprioritization and the energy, the motivation to put into those things, into those new priorities, what are you excited about or looking forward to from this point on?
Yeah, honestly, just continuing with that new focus, that mind shift, the understanding, what I'm putting into my body. Is it going to give me energy, or is it going to make me feel sluggish in an hour? I feel really overwhelmed with everything I got going on right now. Well, I'm going to write it down, get it out of my mind and out of my head, and then I'm going to feel satisfied as I get things done. The being there for my family, setting limits and boundaries for what I'm doing here at work and at school. I'm really looking forward to moving past the past 6 weeks and moving forward with what I've gained from the past 6 weeks, to keep that prioritization in order, the order it should be, and to just keep being positive and happy.
Awesome. I love it. And yeah, like you said, you'd enjoy doing something like this again. Luckily, we have a free group and also a monthly coaching group that are going to be avenues for you to continue with this. And then the online program will also be available to everyone. So last thing is, what would you say, or what would you encourage people who are unsure about whether to do something like this for themselves? They're kind of putting off fixing their problems or reprioritizing their life, not focusing on the frustrating things that are happening. What would you encourage or tell them to do?
Just try it. God commands us to take care of our bodies. They're temples that we are commanded to take care of. And that's more than just eating. It's more than just exercising. It's more than just mental and emotional. All those things roll into it. And you won't fix your unhappiness with just working out. You won't fix it with just eating right. All these things play into it. And this program, this anchored program, focuses on all of these things and how you shift your mindset to move forward. So if you're on the edge, you're not sure if this is for me, you're not sure if you're going to get anything out of this, at least try it. It's 6 weeks. It's not, a year-long commitment. And I think that you'll find what I found, that after 6 weeks, you feel lighter, more free, and you're happy. You know how to move forward.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you for encouraging them. And you're encouraging them to try it, go through it. What do you think is the number one most important, last question, what do you think is the number one most important thing for you achieving success in this? Because obviously you can try, but how did you actually succeed in accomplishing what you wanted?
Well, I'm going to cheat a little bit and give you two. And the first one was definitely God. Focusing my relationship more with my Savior, in my prayer life, in my devotional life, in my Thanksgiving life, that really helped with motivation that I needed. But then, to be honest, just having you push me, having you be energetic, having you genuinely care, made me want to succeed all the more. So those two things to me were really the driving factors in my success, is having a Savior that gave his life for me and having a coach that genuinely cares and wants you to succeed.
Perfect. Thank you. Great. Well, I really appreciate you, Alex. I appreciate you trusting me and going through this, trying this, and putting the energy into yourself and your family and creating these results for yourself and for the encouragement for others. And I look forward to growing this Christian community together and being a part of this journey on earth, hand in hand, walking side by side, as every single day and every single week as we go.
Me too, brother.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
You bet.